Okay, this book that I'm holding in my hand, it's called Just 10. And this is really nice. And what is this book all about? You must have seen the promo. You must have seen some of the graphics, the vinyls outside. And you can get this book. You can do, it's a series in fact. And you can be part of this series by just joining any of our live group. And we are going to do this for the next 10 weeks. So what I understand is week number 1 is already over. But you can still join. This book deals with the 10 commandments. The 10 commandments that we find in the Bible. And it kind of goes in the reverse order. Starts with commandment number 10 and then ends with commandment number 1. So I highly recommend get into a live group. And if you have like a good big family, just take it, start it off as a family. We'll make sure that we'll get you connected to people around your area. Right? We will do that. Thank you, brother. Yeah, so let's look into the word of the Lord today. Let me just start. I have 2 or 3 introductions and we are starting with commandment number 10. You will find this commandment in Exodus chapter 20 verse 17. And the commandment itself is you or thou shalt not covet or do not covet. But then J. John, he's the one who came up with this series. He tackles or deals with the attitude or deals with the principle behind that commandment. And the original issue behind this commandment is contentment. If you're not content, then you will go ahead and covet. But if you're content with what God gives you, then you will not end up coveting or else desiring what does not belong to you. 1930, 95 years ago, the city of Philadelphia, USA, a lady called Henrietta Garrett, she had around $20 million. Now that's a huge amount 95 years ago. And the only problem she did was she did not write a will. So the typical process was anybody who has large property, or for that matter, anyone, before they die, or like sometimes, when they are alive and they gather a good bank balance, good amount of property, lands and all, they will write a will. My son will get this much, my wife will get this much, my daughters will get this much. They will write their will, they'll distribute their properties, and when they are dead, the lawyer comes and says, this is what you will get. This is how your dad or they want the property to be divided. The problem with this lady is she lived along with her husband. The husband and both of them earned a lot of money. And they lived mostly solitary lives, in the sense hardly anybody used to come and meet them. They had only one known cousin who lived miles away. But when she died, the rule over there was if nobody claims their property, the property will go to the government, the state government. That's the rule. Interestingly, the moment she died, out of nowhere, people started showing up, telling, she is my auntie, she is my that, she is my this, and everybody were crying also. When she was alive, nobody came. And interestingly, it became like a big issue. Why? Because how many people showed up? 26,000 people showed up. That's a number. 26,000 people showed up from the 47 states. US has around 51 states. That time maybe just 50. From every state in US they showed up. And other than that, people from 29 other countries also showed up. And they said, they are the rightful inheritors. The property belongs to them. And it went into a court case. Then people started getting murdered. Because one fellow was murdering another fellow just to get, what was the issue? That's one classic case of covetousness. Covetousness in the sense, it does not belong to any of them. They neither worked for that money, neither labored for that money. Nobody cared for this couple. But when they got an opportunity to get hold of that money, they started fighting over that money. Bible preaches against this. In fact, of the many books that I have studied about covetousness, good number of them say that this is the sin that nobody admits. All of us go through this. At one moment or the other, all of us desired something that does not belong to us. None of us would openly admit it. In our hearts, we might repent. Just like us, right? Yeah, none of us here, we are godly people. Yeah. All of us go through this. All of us struggle with this. None of us admit to this. But the sin of covetousness mentioned very frequently in the Bible. Good, great, godly people fell victim to this sin. In the Garden of Eden, Eve desired something which the Lord forbade. He said, don't eat. And she wanted to eat something which is not right for her to eat. When they start conquering the promised land, Joshua's time, Achan, when they conquered the city of Ai, Achan took some gold and some clothes and hid them for himself when he should have brought them forward and burnt all of them. King Ahab, he coveted Nathan's vineyard and the Lord was upset with him. David, man after God's own heart, coveted Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah, his soldier. God did not like what David did. Judas was motivated by a covetous heart. Ananias and Sapphira, when the whole church was selling everything they had and they were pooling in their resources, they would sell and keep a part of that just for themselves. Example after example that you will find in the Bible, a sin that nobody will admit. We just want more and more and more and more. Never satisfied with whatever the Lord gives us. The antidote, they say, to covetousness is when we learn how to be content. Some people use synonyms as materialism. If you're too materialistic, the antidote to materialism or the answer to materialism is generosity. When you are generous, you will be less materialistic. When you are content, you will be less covetous in your life. Wanting more, the desire to want more, the desire to want things which do not really belong to you, or else you don't really require in your life. Some of us, they have it, right? There are a lot of things we don't require in our life. We still want to get them in our life. So in order to acquire them, we do weird things. They say most Indians, what we do is we overwork. We work, and we continue to work. Why? Because we want more. Because we want more, we will work more. And because we work more, we get more tired. No time for the families. You work late hours, come to the home, sleep, go, work again. Consequence of that, a broken family. Children don't feel the connect. Spouses are kind of emotionally separated. Never really talking, never really sharing. And it turns up in different words. They say we don't have that spark. We just live under the same roof. He just comes home just to sleep and eat. Nothing else. Proverbs chapter 23 verse 4 says, do not wear yourself out to get rich. Have the wisdom to show restraint. I checked the number, according to the International Labor Organization, I checked that, the most overworked people in the whole world are Indian people. And I found not all Indians. Some Indians hardly work. If you're laughing means some of them are around. Yeah. But a good number of Indians slog it out. And I also found out a good number of Indians actually work hard because they can't make ends meet. Because they really have to take care of a lot of things. That's why they sacrifice and work. But then things are changing. People are now working because we are slowly becoming materialistic in whatever we do. And they say the number one overworked nation is Japan. There's a term called as karoshi. And I Googled it. Karoshi, what is karoshi? And karoshi is just like, death by overworking. So I saw these YouTube videos of they would go on the street, go on the railway station, and suddenly you will see 2-3 people like sleeping. They're wearing nice clothes. They're wearing nice formal clothes and all. They're just sleeping on the platforms and all. And they said these are people who fainted because of overwork. And a good number of them die because they can't take the stress at work. I don't think we need that kind of a lifestyle, right? I don't think we need. Why earn so much money when you can't even enjoy anything in your life? Materialism or working more just brings more expenses to us. So somebody goes and buys a car. Along with the car comes EMIs with a heavy interest, and then the petrol price hike, which happens every now and then the regular maintenance charges, right? When they could perfectly go around on their two-wheeler or Activa. Ecclesiastes, look at this. Chapter 5 verse 11 reads like this. Now this is very true. I found it to be very true. It says, the more you have, the more people will come to help you spend it, right? When we have a lot of money, suddenly friends show up. Suddenly you become very popular. Suddenly you start getting invited everywhere. So what is the advantage of wealth except perhaps to watch it run through your fingers? Oh, he's a wise man who spoke a wise word. When you are rich, somehow you become like honey to the flies. They will just come around you. All kinds of fundraisers happen around you. You get invitations to all kind of support systems, fundraising, everything. And when you don't have anything, you might not even get that regular forward WhatsApp message. That's how people are. And in many cases, I think, I can talk about like my circles. I don't know about you. Sometimes in many cases, our needs are because of our greeds. What do I mean by this? This is street gossip. Let me share. Like, if I have let's say one family have bought a car, the neighbor also in the next 1 month will buy a car. Not because he needs it, but because the other neighbor has it. Anybody seen anything like that? No, don't lift your hand. Keep it down, keep it down. If you bought a color TV, next day, almost every other family in your family itself will have a color TV, right? They can do without the TV, but they will have the TV just because you have the TV. The need is because of the greed. Just because that fellow has, it doesn't mean that I need to have the same thing also. Somehow, I think, we need to appreciate things without acquiring them, the need to acquire them. If he bought it, he needed it, he felt the need to have it, so he bought it. I don't need it, so I'm not going to buy it. Just because everybody has it, doesn't mean I also need to have it. And if you really want to have lot of things in your life, one thing I know is the more assets you have, the more anxiety or more worry you will have. Because the more you have, the more you will be worried. Who will come and steal? What will happen to all of these things? Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 12, it says, a working man can get good night's sleep, but a rich man has so much that he stays awake worrying. He has so much, a rich man. He'll be thinking about what litigation will they put, who will come and occupy this, who will come and steal with it, how much money to maintain it, 101 things. He will stay awake thinking. With the increase of income, your insomnia also increases. Your sleeplessness also increases. Not just that, wanting more or materialism also brings more conflict. We will start fighting with one another or competing unhealthily with one another just in order to acquire. Proverbs 15:27 says, a greedy man brings troubles to his family. Then I kind of again Googled what are the reasons why people divorce in India? And the pattern is been changing. The latest pattern shows 54% of all divorces in India are because of financial issues. Before it was something else, incompatibility, because they had an extramarital affair and those kind of things. But now, one of the number one reason why people are divorcing is because, she got married and that fellow came with a 10 lakh debt, 10 lakh loan. Or else he is not sharing his income. One of those financial reasons why people are not trusting each other, or they are separating and going on to their own ways. 1 Timothy 6:9. People who want to be rich, they fall into temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. Since I was I came to know that I'm preaching about covetousness over here, I started checking the newspaper. I have this Deccan Chronicle app, and I figured out 3 or 4 days ago, somebody here in Vanasthalipuram only, somebody just looted him of 46 lakh rupees. Why? Because it's a financial scam, and they're more popular now. It's the temptation to make quick money. They will say, invest such and such amount of money. Within 1 month, you will get double. So they invest. And once the money transfer has happened, the party totally disappears. And they'll go to the cops, and then they will find out it's a financial scam that is going on everywhere. Open the newspaper. In fact, the police department has a separate department just for all this. How people are getting scammed financially. Those quick money things and all, I think we should be a little very careful when we invest in any of them. Warren Buffett, he's one of the most the richest man in the world, and he says, never lose the money that you have already earned. He says, only thing you need to do is invest it. And Rick Warren talks about finances, and he says, if you don't really want to take a risk, at least put it in a system where the interest keeps happening. It's the principle of, let's say, compound interest. The money doesn't stay there doing nothing, but at least it will be growing. The interest will be getting added to. At least do something like that. Let the money work for you. Don't just put it in one locker and do nothing about it. Wanting more also brings a lot of dissatisfaction. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 10. If you love money, you will never be satisfied. If you long to be rich, you will never get all you want. It is useless. Some have the attitude of, I will be satisfied when I get a little bit more. So when they get a little bit more, their attitude is, when I get a little bit more, I will be satisfied. And when they get that little bit more, again their attitude will be, I will get a little bit more. Till they die, they will be earning. Never satisfied in their lives. I like what Apostle Paul says. In Philippians chapter 4 verse 12, he says, I have learned the secret of being content, whether living in plenty or in want. I have learned the secret. There are 4 points that I would like to share, and then we will respond to this scripture. 4 principles to the law of contentment, or 4 ways that we can be content. Number 1, stop comparing with others. Stop comparing myself with others, because God had made me unique. The way I make money, the way I do things, the way I acquire talents, the way I am, the way I get things done is just about me. There is nothing called as a carbon copy, and even when there's nothing called as clones who are acting exactly the same. God made all of us unique. 2 Corinthians 10:12 says, we do not dare to classify or compare ourselves. It is not wise. Do not compare yourself with others, because it will lead you nowhere. In elsewhere, when I was growing up, my teachers used to tell, if you do not compare and if you do not compete, you will never really come up in your life. I felt it right. Because if I don't compete with the guy who is like coming one rank higher than me, how will I beat him? How will I come up in my life? But then I found out that's not the right motivation. I don't want to come number 1 just because I want to show others down or lesser than me. They are unique, I am unique. If I want to come first, I want to study and I want to come first. By nature, we like comparing ourselves, right? By nature. They teach us in our schools telling hey, that fellow passed, what did you do? I remember when I failed in my examination, my cousins and all came with the paper. I was acting as if the result didn't come, and I was just acting as if I was sleeping. But this cousin who never comes to my home is knocking early in the morning, telling I passed and all. He knows I failed. The people who do that. That day I felt like, I can't even share. No point comparing. Somehow I must learn to admire without having to acquire. Man, if you bought a car, God bless you, man. If you bought a private jet, God bless you, man. I don't need that in my life. And if I need something and I get, there is no compulsion that you also should buy and get the same thing. You buy whatever you want. I'll buy whatever I want. It doesn't have to be a competition. It doesn't have to be showing who's great or who's less. Coveting, the word coveting, in the Hebrew, it actually means to pant after. In Psalms it says, as the deer pants for the water, so my soul longs after you. Telling that when the deer drinks water, it doesn't bother whatever is around. That's the best time to hunt a deer. That's covetousness according to the Hebrew language. Come to the Greek language. The Greek language says that covetous means to tightly grab something and you're not able to let go of it. You grabbed it so hard that you're finding it hard to let go of it. I found it on one of those Instagram reels itself. I found one of the most effective way to catch a monkey is to take some peanuts, put it in a pot which has a very narrow neck. The monkey will put the hand there, but it will not release the hand. So it's easy to catch a monkey. That's covetousness. It doesn't really mean that you should not have a desire, because any great thing that ever happened anywhere, including the Bible, happened because of a desire. If you don't have a desire, God will not really move in your life. But what I'm talking about is an unhealthy desire, especially to acquire things which other people have, unjustly or unnecessarily acquiring things. The second way you can learn how to be content is by enjoying what you already have. Enjoy what you already have. Don't just endure through your life, but enjoy everything that the Lord has given us in our life. You might not have much, but with the little that you have, you can enjoy life. I mean, by this time you must have figured out there are good number of reasons why we can thank God. We can thank God for a lot of things in our lives. And we can also complain to God about a lot of things in our life. It is up to you whether you will be grateful and thankful for all the blessings that He has given to us, or else keep complaining about the things that you still lack in your life. God just does not want us to endure through our life, but He wants us to enjoy whatever He has given us. Created us, put us in this world. He gave us something, some very nice things. You can look, you can feel, you can smell, we can taste. Enjoy life with whatever God has given us. Some of you sing, some of you play music, and some of them are actually not needed to us. I figured out, let's say scientists, secular scientists say that, music has nothing to do with evolution. Your sense of touch has something to do with evolution. If you touch something, feel good, you will make use of it. Your sense of taste also helps you to grow because you eat and you become strong. But they say your sense of music doesn't help you to evolve into a better person or a worse person. God just gave this gift for us to just enjoy. We just enjoy. It just creates a nice, pleasant atmosphere. Whatever God has given us, let's enjoy that. Everything on this earth was given for our enjoyment. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 19, it says, if God gives a man wealth and property, he should be grateful and enjoy what he has. It is a gift from God. So if God blessed you with something in your life, enjoy whatever you have in your life. Don't go take a loan and buy some more things. You might enjoy it for a day, but then you will start getting frustrated in your life. Be grateful for what you already have in your life. Benjamin Franklin, he was one of the presidents of the United States. He said, content makes the poor man rich. If a poor man knows how to live a content life, he is rich. But then discontent makes the rich man poor. A person who has a lot of things but is not satisfied with whatever he has, he is still a poor man. It's the attitude that they have in their hearts. Some of us have this mentality called as when and then. When and then attitude is, when the Lord gives me 10 crore rupees, I will give 1% to the church. Or else I will call pastors for dinner to my house. When and then. When the Lord does this, then I will. Do you think God is bound by your conditions? The Bible preaches against following God or becoming a disciple of God on our terms. Disciple by definition is somebody who follows God on His terms. Let me tell you another thing. For God's will to happen in your life, you don't have to know God's will first. You only have to agree to obey God's will first. Interestingly, in this world, before you sign an agreement, it is good for us, it is wise for us to read the terms and conditions. And then we can say, I will agree to this contract or this relationship. But when it comes to God, you first say, God, I agree to whatever plan you have for me. And once you say, God, I agree, then He will reveal His will. I hope you got it. In the world, it is wise for you to know the terms and conditions and then sign the agreement. But when it comes to God, you first agree to follow Him, then God will reveal His plan. doubling our income doesn't really double our happiness. First Timothy chapter 6 verse 1. It reads something like this. It says, command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor put their hope in wealth, so that which is so uncertain, but put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Tell them to use their money to do good, that they should be rich in good works and should give generously to those in need. Always be ready to share with others whatever God has given them. He talks to the rich people at Ephesus, and he says, let the rich people be a little more generous. You know, I saw this one reel about Mother Teresa, and Mother Teresa shares a testimony, and a testimony about how she saw a starving family, and she struggles a lot to give them just a small bowl of rice. And when she gives that small bowl of rice, the family which is really starving, they eat a little bit and they keep the little bit aside. And then Mother Teresa said, no, in the evening also I'll get something for you. Interesting, the lady who was starving, she said, this is not for me, this is for my neighbor. I thought it's a great attitude. Even in their lack, they still cared for one another. Not everybody has that blessed attitude. Some of us in our abundance still want to acquire more in our lives. What are the things that you can learn from this verse? It says, as long as you don't become proud of your wealth, it's okay. You can live a good life. You don't have to flaunt everything that you have in your life. You don't have to put your hope in the money that you have. Then Paul also says, use your money to do something good. Use it to make some good friends. Give things, use things in order to earn the goodwill of people. By this stage in my life, I have figured out money, fame, influence, these are all very fluid. Today they are with you, tomorrow they will go away from you. But when you have the influence, when you have the power, when you have the position, if you do good, if you keep helping one another, in your bad time, everybody whom you helped will take a stand for you. But when you have the position and authority, if you keep exploiting one another, then when you are poor, nobody will come to your rescue. Nobody will give ear to you. And for some reason, from Monday onwards, I spent at least 3 or 4 hours just trying to understand, how to identify a psychopath. I was like, God, help me to identify psycho people. And then I found out that, one of the way a psychopath behaves is they use people to get more things. And when they rob people, con people to get things, they don't even have a sense that they have done a mistake. They will never even apologize because the concept of doing a mistake is just absent inside of them. No, we are not those kind of people. Even the little we have, we share it with one another. The third one, remember that life is not about things. Luke chapter 12 verse 15, it says, Jesus says, watch out and guard for yourself from every kind of greed, because your true life is not made up of the things that you own, no matter how rich you may be. Your value is not related to your valuables. That has nothing to do with your valuables. Because, you must have heard this. A rich man dies and a poor man dies. How much money does it take to heaven? Nothing. Even a man with a good name dies. 1 generation will remember, 2 generation will remember. The 7th or 8th generation, how many of us know 8 generations ago who was our grandfather and all, or great grandfather? How many of us know? All of us keep on telling that, our great-grandfathers, for all of us, typical Indian testimony is all of our grandfathers and great-grandfathers are great people. Every house I go and ask them, which family you come from? My great-grandfather was a zamindar. He was a king. He was a cricket person. He was 6 feet tall, and all those things they will tell. My family also used to tell the same thing. That's a typical cultural thing, South Indian culture. I figured out, I saw one of the picture of my great-grandfather. He's 5 feet tall, man. My grandmother just royally tall, 6 feet tall and all. That's the culture we kind of live in right now. Nah, none of these things we are going to take anywhere. Live a good life, giving honor, a legacy that will go on from our children. My parents really didn't give me crores and crores of rupees. But I have a lot of respect for my mom and my dad because they gave me good education, good values. And because of them, I am a Christian. I received Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. I respect them and honor them. More than money, more than the property, the values they communicated, hats off to parents like that. Today on Father's Day, some of you fathers make a decision that you will set an example before your children, that for the rest of their life and to their children and their children, they will talk about and say, this is how my dad brought me up. This is how my parents invested in my life. The greatest things in life are actually not things. They are values. The greatest thing that you can offer to anybody are not property or anything like that. They are values that you can offer. Proverbs chapter 30 verse 7. It says, "Oh God, I ask for 2 things from you before I die. First, help me never to tell a lie, to be truthful in my life." Second one is very important. Second, give me neither poverty nor riches. Give me just enough to satisfy my needs. For if I grow rich, I may deny you and say, who is the Lord? Because if you have too much of money, in your arrogance, he says, I don't care about the Lord. Who is he? I can manage things on my own. And if you're too poor, I might steal and thus insult God's holy name. The writer of the Proverbs is telling God, just give me enough so I can just live my days in gratitude, thanking you and just blessing your name. The Lord's Prayer says, God, give us today our daily bread. The fourth and the final one. Focus on what will last forever. That's one way you can avoid covetousness in your life. When your focus is not on things which are temporary, but on things which are permanent. Everything you can feel right now, touch and feel, everything that is material that you can see right now is temporary. Literally it is temporary, including your body. This body will decay. This place will fall apart. This earth on which we live will also become nothing. But what you do not see right now, the spirit, it's going to stay permanent. What you see is temporary. What you do not see is permanent. 2 Corinthians 4 verse 18, it says, we fix our attention not on things that are seen, but on things that are not seen. For what can be seen lasts only for a time, temporary. But what cannot be seen lasts forever. So you want to build a great palace, or you want to build a great heart, a great character, or a great empire. Choice is ours. Believe me, including our talents, more than our skill set and our talents, more than anything that we do, God is more interested in our character. Because I don't know if your talents can take you into the presence of the Lord. Your character will take you into the presence of the Lord. Or else it can also take you away from the presence of the Lord. Good character, you are there in the presence of the Lord. Bad character, burn in hell. Focus on things that will last forever. Psalm chapter 1 verse 15, it says, but as for me, my contentment is not in wealth, but in seeing you and knowing that all is well between us. And when I awake in heaven, I will be fully satisfied because I will see you face to face. 4 things that we have seen today. 4 things that will help us to be content in our life. Number 1, stop comparing. If your neighbor has something which you don't have, you don't have to buy it just because they have. You deal with things because you want them or it is necessary for you. Number 2, enjoy what God already has given you. God has given us a lot of things in our life. Enjoy. Be happy with what you have. Got a family. You got a nice house. Enjoy. Learn how to appreciate those things. The time that you have with your family, appreciate. Not everybody has that kind of a time. The church that you have, appreciate that. The time that you get over here, appreciate that. The third one, remember, life is not about things. There are bigger things to life than just making money or acquiring things. They say a good name is better than riches, better than gold. My value is not decided by the valuables that I have in my life. The fourth one, focus on things which are much better. Why focus on things which are going to go away? Focus on things which will stay permanent, which are going to last forever. After 400 years, the Israelites walk out of Egypt. Once they walk out of Egypt, the Bible says, when the Red Sea event happened, they trembled. And they started glorifying God. Miriam sings a song, so does all the Israelites. But then immediately they walk around 30 kilometers or so, they feel thirsty. And they start complaining, God, we are dying of thirst. That's the first complaint. Moses takes a branch, puts it in the water, bitter water becomes sweet. They drink it. Then the Lord says, I am testing you. I'm testing you whether you will trust me in your lack, whether you will fully comply to whatever I'm asking you to do. They say, we love you, God, we will love you. For the next 30 days or so, let's say 45 days, they listen to God. 2.5 months after they come out of Egypt, they start complaining again, telling God, we don't have food. God, we don't have food. They start murmuring. Then God says, don't worry, I will open up the heavens and manna will start falling. 45 days since they come out of Egypt, that's the event that happens. For 15 days, they eat manna. And even in that, they showed greed. God said, only gather as much as you need. But then in their greed, they gather for the next 2 days, 3 days. It rots. Moses is hurt because of that. Why are they not able to trust that God will provide? 15 days since manna starts falling down, in the 3rd month, 3 months after they left Egypt, they stand at Mount Horeb. In between, they again complain, we don't have water. Then Moses takes the rod, hits the stone. Water just starts gushing forth. People are constantly complaining. Moses is unable to bear that. Then Jethro comes and tells, delegate man, tell the elders also to start judge. But then God also gets offended. Brings them to Mount Sinai and he says, man, 3 months you left Egypt, but your hearts are still in Egypt. You're still behaving like slaves. Because every time they complained about food, The complaint is in the tone, I was better off in Egypt. We had food in Egypt. God gets upset and he says, I will not allow you to be defined by Egypt. He says, come, and it will be a new covenant, a new agreement I'm going to make with you, a new identity. You will follow the laws that I give you. And if you follow them, you will reap my benefits. You will reap the blessings of it. Calls to the mountain and he gives them the 10 commandments. Today we just looked at the 10th of that. Do not covet. In the next 9 weeks, we will have different commandments being preached from this stage. You will also discuss the same things in your life groups. But then my question is, why should I just study the word of the Lord? Why should I just listen to the word of the Lord? It will only make sense if I put it into practice, right? So let's just go ahead. Instead of asking God, God, you come and bless me and touch me, let's reach out to God and say, God, I will not covet. I will listen to your word. I will align my life according to your commandments. Can we do that?